chosen ones. They are absolutely furious with this person right now. I'm talking about a rage so intense it's tearing their entire group apart from the inside out. They're falling out about you, screaming matches, accusations flying, relationships ending in spectacular fashion. The situation went way too far, and now they're paying the price. This is deep, deeper than any of them imagined when they first decided to target a chosen one. The situation started months ago when they noticed something about you that made them uncomfortable. Maybe it was your natural magnetism, your ability to see through deception, or simply the way opportunities seemed to flow toward you effortlessly. Whatever triggered their jealousy, they decided you needed to be taken down a few notches. They formed their little alliance, thinking strength in numbers would give them the upper hand against one person. The situation started months ago when they noticed something about you that made them uncomfortable. Maybe it was your natural magnetism, your ability to see through deception, or simply the way opportunities seemed to flow toward you effortlessly. Whatever triggered their jealousy, they decided you needed to be taken down a few notches. They formed their little alliance, thinking strength in numbers would give them the upper hand against one person. But here's where their plan began to crumble from the very beginning. They underestimated the spiritual protection that surrounds chosen ones like you. Every move they made against you was being recorded in the cosmic ledger. Every lie they told, every scheme they hatched, every moment they spent trying to damage your reputation was building up energy that would eventually have to be balanced. And that balancing is happening right now. One person in their group, let's call them the Whistleblower, has reached their breaking point. This person initially went along with the attacks against you, maybe even contributed to the campaign of lies and manipulation. They thought they were on the winning side. They thought bringing you down would somehow elevate their own position. They were catastrophically wrong. The Whistleblower is currently sitting in their room, staring at their phone, knowing they have information that could destroy everyone they've been working with. They're wrestling with a decision that will change the trajectory of their entire life. In about 3 hours, they're going to make a choice that will send shockwaves through the entire group. They're going to tell the truth about everything. Meanwhile, another member of this alliance, someone who was particularly vicious in their attacks against you, is discovering that their own life is falling apart at an alarming rate. The energy they sent your way has boomeranged back to them with compound interest. Their closest relationships are crumbling, their professional reputation is under scrutiny, they're experiencing what can only be described as a complete spiritual breakdown. This person thought they could use supernatural methods against you. They invested time, money, and energy into practices designed to block your blessings and redirect your opportunities to themselves. What they didn't realize is that chosen ones like you have built-in protection that not only deflects these attacks, but sends them back to their source multiplied. Right now, they're dealing with the consequences of every negative intention they held toward you. The sleepless nights, the anxiety attacks, the way nothing seems to go right for them anymore. It's all connected to their decision to wage war against someone who operates under divine protection. But the story gets deeper, and this is where it becomes truly fascinating. There's a family involved in this situation, people who present themselves as upstanding members of their community, but who harbor deep resentment toward you. They've been operating behind the scenes, spreading carefully crafted stories designed to damage your character and reputation. This family made a critical error in judgment. They assumed you were isolated, that you didn't have allies or support systems they needed to worry about. They thought they could control the narrative around you and that their version of events would become the accepted truth. They invested months into this campaign, convinced they were protecting their own interests by diminishing yours. What they didn't anticipate was that truth has a way of surfacing, especially when it comes to chosen ones. The universe has a vested interest in protecting and elevating people like you, which means any sustained attack against you will eventually be exposed and neutralized. The exposure is happening in the most unexpected way. Someone within their own circle, possibly a family member who was initially supportive of their campaign against you, has started asking uncomfortable questions. They've noticed inconsistencies in the stories being told about you. They've observed how the attacks against you seem to be creating chaos in their own family dynamic rather than achieving the intended results. This family member is about to make a discovery that will shock them to their core. They're going to uncover evidence of the coordinated campaign against you, messages, documents, possibly even recordings that prove the systematic nature of the attacks. When they realize the extent of the deception and manipulation that's been happening in their own family, their reaction is going to be swift and decisive. The revelation will create an immediate division within the family. Some members will desperately try to defend their actions, while others will be horrified to learn what's been happening in their name. The unity they thought they had will shatter overnight, replaced by accusations, blame, and a complete breakdown of trust. There's also a romantic element to this story that adds another layer of complexity. Someone who was romantically interested in you became part of this alliance against you when they realized you weren't going to return their feelings. Instead of accepting the situation with grace, they chose revenge. This person convinced themselves that if they couldn't have you, they would make sure no one else could either. They began spreading intimate lies about you, trying to poison potential romantic connections before they could develop. They thought they were being clever, positioning themselves as the authority on who you really are beneath the surface. Their campaign backfired spectacularly. Not only did their lies fail to prevent you from forming meaningful connections, but their obsessive focus on you revealed their true character to everyone around them. People began to notice their unhealthy fixation, their willingness to spread unverified stories, and their inability to move on from rejection. Now this person is facing complete social isolation. The friends who initially listened to their stories about you have started to distance themselves, recognizing the toxic pattern of behavior. Their reputation for trustworthiness and emotional stability has been permanently damaged. They're discovering that when you wage war against a chosen one out of jealousy and wounded pride, you end up destroying yourself in the process. The most shocking revelation is yet to come, and it involves the discovery of just how far this group was willing to go in their campaign against you. Evidence is about to surface showing they attempted to interfere with your professional opportunities, your living situation, and even your family relationships. They created fake accounts to monitor your online activity. They spread false information to people in your network. They tried to turn your own support system against you. The scope of their conspiracy will be so extensive that even they will be shocked when it's all laid out in front of them. They got so caught up in their mission to bring you down that they lost sight of how far they'd fallen into obsessive, destructive behavior. They've been documenting the group's activities, partly as insurance and partly because some part of them knew this day would come. They have screenshots of group conversations where strategies were discussed. They have recordings of phone calls where lies were coordinated. They have evidence of the financial resources that were invested in trying to damage your reputation and opportunities. When this information becomes public, it's going to create a domino effect that destroys relationships, careers, and reputations across multiple social circles. People who thought they were safely anonymous in their attacks against you are about to discover that everything they did was being recorded by someone they trusted. The family I mentioned earlier is about to experience their own civil war. The evidence of their coordinated campaign against you will be so damning that it creates permanent fractures in their relationships. Children will lose respect for parents. Siblings will refuse to speak to each other. The family unity they thought they were protecting by attacking you will be completely destroyed by their own actions. Here's what makes this situation particularly devastating for them. They're realizing that you never retaliated. Throughout their entire campaign against you, you maintained your integrity. You didn't engage in the same tactics they used. You didn't try to destroy their reputations or interfere with their opportunities. You simply continued growing, evolving, and succeeding despite their best efforts to derail you. This realization is crushing them because it forces them to confront the truth about themselves. They're not the righteous defenders they convinced themselves they were. They're not protecting anything valuable by attacking you. They're simply people who let jealousy and fear drive them to destructive behavior, and now they're facing the consequences. The romantic saboteur is experiencing their own reckoning. Someone they trusted has come forward with evidence of their obsessive behavior toward you, text messages where they fantasized about ruining your happiness, voice recordings where they strategized about how to damage your romantic prospects, social media activity that reveals the extent of their surveillance of your personal life. This evidence is about to be shared with mutual friends and possibly with potential romantic partners they're currently pursuing. Their pattern of obsessive, vindictive behavior toward you is going to become public knowledge, effectively ending their ability to form healthy relationships with anyone who knows the truth. The supernatural attacks against you have backfired in ways that are beyond their comprehension. The person who invested in trying to block your spiritual progress is now experiencing what can only be described as a complete spiritual collapse. They're having nightmares that wake them up screaming. They're experiencing physical symptoms that doctors can't explain. They're losing weight, losing sleep, and losing their grip on reality. They're finally understanding that when you attack a chosen one using dark practices, you don't just fail, you invite those same dark energies into your own life. Every negative intention they held toward you has become their own lived experience. Every obstacle they tried to place in your path has manifested in their own journey. The group is turning on each other with a viciousness that surprises even them. The unity they thought they had was always fragile, built on a shared target rather than genuine connection. Now that their campaign has failed and consequences are mounting, they're looking for someone to blame. Accusations are flying back and forth about who was responsible for the worst ideas, who pushed the group too far, who should have spoken up when things got out of hand. They're discovering that conspiracies built on negativity and jealousy don't create lasting bonds, they create temporary alliances that crumble the moment pressure is applied. The whistleblower is watching this implosion with growing horror, realizing how close they came to being destroyed along with everyone else. Their decision to come forward with the truth isn't just about doing the right thing anymore, it's about survival. They recognize that staying aligned with this group means going down with the ship. Meanwhile, you've been experiencing the opposite trajectory. While they've been consumed with destroying you, you've been building something beautiful. Your life has been expanding in ways that would have seemed impossible when their attacks first began. Opportunities have been flowing to you. Relationships have been deepening. Your purpose has been clarifying. This isn't coincidence, it's how the universe responds when chosen ones are under attack. The energy that others spend trying to diminish you gets redirected into accelerating your growth and expanding your influence. Every lie they told about you created space for more truth to emerge about your character. Every opportunity they tried to block cleared the way for better opportunities to find you. The evidence that's about to be released will vindicate you completely, but more importantly, it will serve as a warning to anyone else who might consider targeting a chosen one. The documentation of their campaign against you and its consequences will become a case study in why attacking protected individuals always results in self-destruction. The family civil war is about to reach its peak. The member who discovered the truth about the campaign against you has gathered all the evidence and is preparing to confront the family leadership. They're planning to present everything at the next family gathering, creating a moment of reckoning that will be remembered for generations. When the truth comes out, it's going to create immediate and permanent divisions. Some family members will be so horrified by what was done in their name that they'll cut ties completely. Others will double down on their hatred toward you, refusing to acknowledge that their actions were wrong. The family unity that once existed will become a memory, replaced by factions that can never be reconciled. The romantic saboteur is about to face their own moment of public exposure. The evidence of their obsessive behavior toward you is going to be shared in a context where their current romantic interests will see it. The person they're currently pursuing will discover the extent of their fixation on you and will immediately end all contact. This public humiliation will be particularly devastating because it will confirm what everyone already suspected but was too polite to say directly, that their inability to move on from you revealed serious character defects that made them unsuitable as a romantic partner for anyone. The supernatural practitioner who tried to use dark methods against you is experiencing what spiritual teachers call the return. Every negative intention they sent your way is coming back to them amplified. They're dealing with health issues, financial problems, and relationship destruction that seems to have no logical explanation until you understand the spiritual dynamics at play. They're finally seeking help from spiritual advisors who are telling them the same thing. When you attack someone who operates under divine protection, you invite divine correction into your own life. The only way to stop the downward spiral is to make amends, but their pride and fear are preventing them from taking the necessary steps. They're finally understanding what they were really fighting against when they targeted you. You weren't just another person they could manipulate and control. You were a chosen one, operating under divine protection, with a purpose they couldn't derail and a destiny they couldn't alter. Their failure wasn't just tactical, it was inevitable. The universe has too much invested in your success to allow a group of jealous, fearful people to interfere with your path. Every resource they invested in trying to stop you was wasted energy that could have been used to improve their own lives. While the whistleblower has been gathering their courage to come forward, something even more explosive has been developing in the digital realm. The group's communications weren't as secure as they believed, and their digital footprint has been creating an evidence trail that's about to become their downfall. One member of their alliance made a critical mistake 3 weeks ago. They forwarded a group message containing detailed plans about sabotaging your professional reputation to someone they thought they could trust. That person immediately screenshot the message and began quietly investigating the extent of the conspiracy. What they discovered was far worse than they imagined. One on Intrese, the following is a message from Mike, founder of the Obsidian Inner Order, powered by Astral Atom. Look, I know you came here for your chosen one video, but I need a minute. If I don't speak this into the field now, I might never forgive myself. Some of us were born into fire, abused, exiled, haunted by truths no one around us could hold. That doesn't mean we're cursed. It means we were chosen to walk through the veil and come back with the map. Inside the Obsidian Inner Order, we gather every week, live on Zoom, face to face. And when I say real people, I mean it. A former military drone operator who now uses his mind as the remote. A millionaire CFO who walked away from everything to become a psychic in Noosa. A spiritual healer once trapped inside a satanic cult. A seer, a sage, a soul who left Mormonism and found the Gnosis instead. These are the ones who gave it all up when their calling hit, and that's just a glimpse, and every call is recorded. So when you're alone, when you're crawling through the dirt of your own awakening, you can press play and feel the field again. This is not for everyone, but maybe it's for you. Can you see yourself among us? Join the Obsidian Inner Order, link in the description. Thank you all for supporting the broadcast. We quite literally could not do this without you. This outside observer has been systematically documenting everything they could find. They discovered that the group had created multiple fake social media profiles specifically to monitor your activities and spread disinformation. They found evidence of coordinated review bombing on your professional platforms. They uncovered a shared document where the group tracked your daily movements and planned their interference strategies. The most damning discovery was a voice recording where the family matriarch explicitly detailed their plan to destroy that person's ability to succeed in this community. The recording includes specific instructions about which lies to tell to which people, how to make the stories sound credible, and how to coordinate timing for maximum impact. This evidence is sitting in a secure folder, waiting to be released at precisely the right moment. The person who gathered it has been watching the group's increasing desperation and infighting, timing their revelation for when it will cause maximum damage to the conspiracy while providing maximum protection for future targets. Soon, this evidence is going to surface in a way that catches everyone completely off guard. The revelation won't come from the whistleblower as expected, but from this external observer who has no loyalty to any member of the group and no interest in protecting their reputations. The digital trail reveals something even more disturbing about their campaign against you. They weren't just attacking your current situation, they were trying to prevent your future success by sabotaging opportunities before you even knew they existed. They had infiltrated professional networks, social circles, and even dating platforms to ensure you would face rejection and obstacles everywhere you turned. The sophistication of their operation is what makes their failure so complete. They invested enormous amounts of time, energy, and coordination into trying to control your destiny, yet your path as a chosen one remained unaltered. Every door they tried to close led to better doors opening. Every connection they tried to poison led to stronger connections forming. Every lie they told about you ultimately revealed more truth about your character. When this digital evidence becomes public, it's going to trigger investigations by platforms and authorities who take coordinated harassment seriously. The group members who thought they were anonymous are going to discover that digital breadcrumbs lead directly back to their real identities. Professional consequences, legal liability, and permanent reputational damage are all heading their way. The family's involvement in the digital campaign is going to be particularly devastating because it will show premeditation and coordination at a level that transforms their actions from personal drama into something that could have legal ramifications. The evidence of their systematic harassment will be undeniable, documented, and permanently archived. While the main conspirators are about to face their reckoning, there's another group that's been quietly suffering throughout this entire ordeal, the innocent people who were manipulated into participating in the campaign against you without fully understanding what they were being asked to do. These individuals were approached by members of the core group and fed carefully crafted stories about you. They were told you had hurt someone they cared about, or that you were a threat to their community, or that you were manipulating people they wanted to protect. They were given just enough information to make them feel justified in participating, but not enough to understand the true scope of the conspiracy. Some of these people have been carrying guilt for months, feeling uncomfortable about their participation, but not understanding why. They sensed something was wrong with the stories they were told, but the pressure from the core group kept them from questioning too deeply. They've been watching the increasing chaos and wondering if their actions contributed to something they never intended to support. 3 of these manipulated participants are about to have simultaneous revelations about what they've actually been part of. One is going to overhear a conversation between core group members that reveals the extent of the lies they were told. Another is going to receive the digital evidence that exposes the systematic nature of the campaign. The third is going to witness the supernatural consequences affecting the core group and realize that participating in attacks against you brought negative energy into their own life. These 3 individuals are going to compare notes and discover that they were all fed different versions of the same fabricated stories. The contradictions will be so obvious that they'll immediately understand they were manipulated into participating in something they never would have supported if they'd known the truth. Their reaction is going to create a secondary wave of exposure because they're going to reach out to other people who were manipulated in the same way. Within days, a network of deceived participants is going to emerge, all sharing their pieces of the puzzle and all realizing how extensively they were lied to and used. This group of formerly manipulated individuals is going to become some of the strongest witnesses to the systematic nature of the campaign against you. Their testimony will be particularly powerful because they have no reason to protect you or attack the core group. They simply want to set the record straight about how they were deceived and used. The core group never anticipated this development because they assumed the people they manipulated would remain loyal or at least remain silent. They never considered that their lies would eventually be compared and cross-referenced by the people they deceived. They never planned for the possibility that their own deception would create a network of witnesses against them. When these manipulated participants start speaking out, it's going to reveal just how extensive the conspiracy was and how many people were affected by the core group's campaign of lies. The full scope of the damage they tried to create will become visible, making their failure to actually harm you even more obvious and their coming punishment even more justified. Some of these manipulated participants had been questioning their own judgment and character for months, wondering why they felt so uncomfortable about their actions. The revelation that they were systematically deceived is going to provide them with both relief and anger, relief that their instincts were right, and anger that they were used as weapons against someone who never deserved their hostility. The psychological manipulation these innocent people experienced is going to become part of the evidence against the core group. Mental health professionals will be able to identify the tactics used to recruit unwilling participants, showing a level of calculated manipulation that goes far beyond personal drama into the realm of systematic psychological abuse. These manipulated participants are going to need their own healing process as they come to terms with how their natural compassion and protective instincts were weaponized against an innocent person. Their recovery is going to involve making amends to you, but more importantly, it's going to involve learning to trust their own instincts when something feels wrong about a story they're being told. When the dust settles, you'll still be standing exactly where you were always meant to be, elevated, protected, and moving forward with your purpose. They'll be dealing with the wreckage of their own making, finally understanding that when you wage war against a chosen one, you don't just lose the battle, you lose yourself in the process. The story of their campaign against you will become a cautionary tale about the dangers of letting jealousy and fear drive you to destructive behavior. But for you, it will simply be another chapter in your journey as a chosen one, a chapter that proved your resilience, confirmed your protection, and prepared you for even greater things ahead. This is your vindication, your validation, and your victory, all rolled into one devastating revelation that will change everything for everyone involved. The truth is about to set everyone free, including you.